Yo, it's your boy TTK, and welcome back to the part 3, final part of discussing every single Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet NU. If you guys haven't seen the last 2 videos, I will link them in the description so you guys can go check them out. We've been doing this in alphabetical order, so there's a mon that you would like to see that isn't going to be in this video. Just check out the last 2 parts. Now, before we get into part 3, if you guys aren't subscribed yet and you do enjoy the content on this channel, consider subscribing to the channel for more content. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so hopefully we'll be able to reach that goal. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet and you really enjoy my content, or you want to see some more stuff that is interesting from me, consider subscribing. We're gonna have a lot of new content coming out and all of that good stuff. But yeah, last video we left off on Paldea and Tauros, which I mentioned was a pretty decent fighting type despite the fighting competition in the tier, just because of the fact that terrestrialization, intimidate, or bulk up, sets like that make Tauros Paldea different from the likes of, Persimmon or, Phalanx, which Phalanx is probably less niche than Tauros Paldea just because it has a higher speed tier. 110 attack is higher than Phalanx's 100, and it still has good qualities that make it a good fighting type in the tier, despite broken stuff like Medicham and Persimmon. So yeah, moving on to Toxicroak, another fighting type. Toxicroak is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. It is pretty nice in this tier because it finally has CC on physical sets. Now physical sets were good in previous gens of lower tiers like NU and stuff, but it was just a shame because you had Gunk Shot, which was 120 base power, and then you just had to stick with Drain Punch, which was 75 base power. The difference on the breaking side when it came to actually hitting Pokemon with your fighting stab was very, very weak. But now that you have CC in your thing, you have 2 very high powered stabs, and you also have Sucker Punch as priority to hit Pokemon like Bruxish. Now Bruxish does have Dazzling, which you can run as an ability. Obviously you'd say Strong Jaw is better because Psychic Fangs gets boosted again, but at the same time Dazzling is kind of annoying. But most Bruxish are running freaking Strong Jaw, so at this point you can run Sucker Punch and play around that. And Dry Skin's a pretty nice ability, because you gain a water immunity. Again, a Pokemon like Bruxish can spam Wave Crash, and you're able to switch in on that mon pretty easily, especially if it's a choice banded Bruxish. Now Toxicroak also has a special set as well, Nasty Plot, with you can run Sludge Bomb, Focus Blast, and then Shadow Ball last. But I think physical sets are a lot stronger now just because you have CC and you still have SD. Terra Potential is also here as well. I don't know what Terra Potential would be good. Obviously you could go Fighting. Of course, you could probably go Fairy with Terra Blast, Tech It, but I do think Sucker Punch is pretty nice in general just because it's priority. But yeah, Terra Fairy to beat something like Spiritomb, because Spiritomb does not care about your dual stab. It's very easy to kind of wall Toxicroak's dual stab Ghost types, resist poison fighting coverage, so that's why Sucker Punch is so important. But something like Spiritomb obviously is a very good Pokemon to consider, so maybe Terra Fairy is also a tech for you to deal with that. But yeah, Toxicroak's a pretty good Pokemon. It stands out from the other fighting types just because it has SD. It's also faster than things like Medicham and Persimmon. They're at base 80 and Toxicroak's at base 85. It's the second fastest fighting type if I recall correctly. Obviously Tauros Paldea being 100 base speed. So yeah, Toxicroak's a pretty good Pokemon, I think, and it definitely has its place in the meta. Whether it gets enough usage, I think it'll get enough usage to be NU, to be honest. There's a lot of good traits about it, like the water immunity, which I like a lot. So yeah, there's that. Tropius. Yeah, I don't want to waste too much time on this. Tropius has never been good in NU. Maybe it was good in ADV, I don't even know, back in Gen 3. I really don't know how good Tropius was back in Gen 3, probably us as well. But yeah, Tropius has never had anything going for it. The most niche stuff that it has going for it is sub-harvest shenanigans, and even then in PU that doesn't even work half the time, or most of the time. Tropius is just a bad Pokemon in general, and there's really much merit to using it, which is a shame because it just needs an overall stat buff. 460 BST, some Pokemon make it work, but more like Tropius, it just doesn't work out. It doesn't know what it wants to be. You have Dragon Dance as boosting options, but it has such a little attack stat, and then its defenses are just average, especially with its defensive type. It's just not that good, to be honest. Don't use Tropius, simple as that. Tinkertuff. Let's talk about Tinkertuff now. Now, NU released like a viability list, like thread on Smogon forums, which basically just says which Pokemon are good, which Pokemon are bad. And Tinkertuff was in the low tier, which I was pretty confused about, considering the fact that this thing actually has a lot of, viable traits, I think. And it has Eviolite, is bulky. Steel Fairy is like the best defensive type in the game. Like, you just have so many good resistances. You only have 2 weaknesses to Fire and Ground, and like you're decently bulky. But I think as time has gone on, at least in the first week or so, people have just realized Tinkertuff is just too passive. Because realistically, you're going Stealth Rock, you're going like Knockoff, you're probably going Thunder Wave, and then you either go like Play Rough or like Encore. And if you don't go Play Rough, then you're just doing even less damage, because unfortunately that attack stat is not doing you any favors whatsoever, especially when it comes to a non-stab move like Knockoff. And even Play Rough doesn't even do that much. It's just that this one is way too passive. Now, it's still relatively bulky, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't have reliable recovery. It'll be chipped very easily and stuff like that. Like, it has to check so many things in the meta. Like, you want it to try and check fighting types if it's Fizz Def. You want it to try and check yeah, like fighting type is probably one of the biggest ones, to be honest, in this tier. It's also a normal check as well, but still, like, it's just coming in on a lot of things, and it's just worn down very easily. So I can understand why people are, or like the NU people have decided to put this thing in like the low tier of the viability list. But I still think it has some decent merits, I suppose. It'll like, I don't know if it will drop to PU. Hopefully it does. I'd like to use this in PU, but yeah, like it's okay. Like, it's not bad. Obviously, it just is very vulnerable, and a lot of people have started to realize that now. So yeah, there's stuff like that. Next up, we have Umbreon, which is quite surprising that we got Umbreon in NU. Never really would have seen him on this bulky in NU, but yeah, we have it. Now, Umbreon can do what Umbreon usually does. It has Wish, it has Protect, it kept Foul Play. Like, it can just pretty much do the set that has always been running, or it can try and run something new now. Because it has Calm Mind, you can run a bulky Umbreon set with Calm Mind. Like, it can basically just do what Spiritomb does, in terms of you can go Calm Mind, Dark Pulse, or like Rest Talk, or maybe like go Rest, Calm Mind, Dark Pulse, Terra Blast, with the Terrestrialization being Fairy, because Umbreon's biggest weakness is obviously the fighting type, and there's a lack of Fairy, so you might as well just Terra Fairy to resist fighting, and then like beat those guys 1v1. Does have Dazzling Gleam, which is unfortunate, but you get around that with Terra Blast, of course. But yeah, I would probably think Rest Talk, Calm Mind is probably the most consistent check here, and then you just go like max HP, max defense here. And I think this is a pretty decent win con, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I haven't seen too many Umbreon use yet, which is actually kind of insane, but like, it is kind of relying on its Terra, at least with the Calm Mind sets, because you want to get rid of its fighting weakness and stuff like that. So yeah, probably wouldn't go Impish or go Bold, my bad. But yeah, something like this would work, or you just go the Wish Protect set, which is probably a bit too passive in this meta right now. So this is just a win con that you guys can think about. And yeah, Umbreon dropping to NU is surprising. Doubt it even makes it to PU. Like, Umbreon in PU would be a disgusting sight to see, I'm not gonna lie, guys. But yeah, we have Ursaring now. Now, Ursaring's in an interesting spot, and I say interesting because it's not a bad mon on paper. Like, a mon like this can hit hard. It has its niche and Trick Room sort of styles where you have what's the current Trick Room setters? What's the meta saying? You have Farigiraf as a Trick Room setter, pretty good enough. You have Indeedee, Rabska probably is a pretty decent Trick Room setter, and Spiritomb. You have Spiritomb, like Memento Trick Room, that's actually pretty good. So like, Ursaring does have like some specialized things it can do, but at the same time, like, Trick Room is a niche playstyle, and outside of that, Ursaring is just outclassed by Zangoose in every department, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you don't have Eviolite access yet, so you're not bulky, and like, I'm not even too sure the bulk would come into play too much. But at the same time, Zangoose is faster. You might hit harder than Zangoose, but the speed tier really matters, and you're not necessarily that bulky. Like, you have 90 HP, but you have 75 defense. Like, that's not really too bulky in NU, especially with like fighting type going around, and your speed tier just doesn't cut it. So it's a shame, really, because like, in most cases Zangoose gets the use over Ursaring, but Like, if you want to use Trick Room, then Ursaring is probably pretty good. But outside of that, it's just worse than Zangoose in every way, which is unfortunate. But yeah, Vaporeon is here as well, which is actually kind of interesting. I think it's pretty cool that Vaporeon's here. Like, you know, stopping things like Bruxish is definitely one of the premier defensive Pokemon in NU right now, just because of the water immunity is bulky, the wishes are massive, it can actually do damage. Even people have been trying to run the Calm Mind, you know, Vaporeon, and I'm pretty sure you can even go Calm Mind, Acid Armor, Wish potentially, probably Wish, and then like go Stored Power. That's also a set that could work with like Terra Psychic or something, or any other Terra type that, you know, gets rid of your, you know, main weaknesses and stuff like that. I think it's pretty versatile to run, but most of the common sets are most likely just, you know, Wish Tech and then like, you know, Ice Beam Blast or something like that, or just running like Calm Mind instead of like Calm Mind, Acid Armor and stuff like that. But yeah, Vaporeon's versatile. Given the evolutions, Calm Mind raises the viability of like the lower tier ones pretty well, actually. Like things like Sylveon already had Calm Mind, but things like Umbreon, Vaporeon, even Glaceon to a certain extent, like them getting Calm Mind does increase their viability in certain ways. But yeah, Vaporeon is definitely one of NU's best Pokemon for sure. Now next we have scrolling down, Veluza. Now Veluza, a lot of people don't rate this Pokemon, and it's a shame really, because I do think it has merit. Like, it has Fillet Away, and now Fillet Away is Shell Smash at home, which is essentially meaning that, you know, you get a +2 boost to your special attack, and speed, but you half your HP in the process. So, you know, it's a worse Shell Smash in every way if you think about it. But at the same time, you know, you can alleviate that with a berry of some sorts. Obviously, Citrus Berry would be the best if you're not running Substitute, because, you know, you get to half HP and then you get back to 75% HP because Citrus recovers a quarter of your max HP. So yeah, Fillet Away. You'll probably go like Liquidation, like Mold Breaker. I don't know when Mold Breaker would come into clutch, but a lot of people have been saying Vaporeon is probably something nice as well, because Mold Breaker ignores the water immunity that grants it. Same thing would apply to Toxicroak, though you would probably just click, you know, your Psychic type stab against that as well, which is Psychic Fangs if you're not going Sharpness. But yeah, honestly, I don't think Veluza's as bad as everyone's making out to seem. Now, it's pretty hard to set up, all things considered. It doesn't really have the best bulk, nor the best speed tier. Like, but it's not like Screens is impossible to run in this tier. So that's why I'm just thinking, why is everyone thinking this Pokemon's bad? Like, Mold Breaker is actually pretty nice. Like, you ignore, you know, Crocodile Unaware as well, which is actually something that is, like, pretty good defensively and stuff like that. But it's just the main thing that, you know, you have another water psychic type in the tier, Bruxish, which is basically a more consistent Pokemon than you. Higher attack, higher speed, you know, is much more threatening because it has strong dual Psychic Fangs, Wave Crash, for example. And it's just like, you're not really wanting to use Veluza as like a setup sweeper when, you know, you have the Quiver Dance ones as well that can basically fill that, you know, late game role. And yeah, you don't like, there's just not much reason for people to want to use Veluza, but it's definitely a Pokemon that isn't bad at all, to be honest. I think it's underrated in my opinion. But yeah, on to Venomoth, obviously one of the best Pokemon in NU without a doubt. You know, this one historically has been too much for RU to even handle, so the fact that, you know, it's finally down in NU is crazy. Now, why is Venomoth being good in, you know, RU or too strong for that tier? Well, Tinted Lens, Sleep Powder, you know, Tinted Lens ignores, you know, resistances, so, you know, there's nothing that can realistically wall Venomoth properly by using type alone. Like, you kind of have to have your dedicated specials to deal with Venomoth. Now, you kind of just Sleep Powder everything, and then you just Quiver Dance. You also have Terra potential as well, which is something that is pretty strong for you. Like, you can go Terra Bug. You know, you typically don't run Sludge Bomb because you can fit Roost. Oh, Lost Roost. Damn, Venomoth Lost Roost. Well, you could just run Terra Blast in the last slot. Like, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Like, you could also go Sub. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for Sub anymore because you don't have Roost. You might as well just go Quiver Dance 3 attacks or Quiver Dance Sleep Powder 2 attacks, which is probably Bug Buzz and then, like, Terra Blast, whatever. I don't really know what the most common Terra Blast has been. Like, at the same time, you don't really need Ground to hit Steel because Bug Buzz is kind of hitting Steel. But I guess, you know, obviously Tinker Tough quad resist Bug, so Terra Blast Ground would probably do a lot of damage to that. You have Terra Blast Water, Terra Blast Grass even. Like, there's a lot of options that Venomoth can go, and yeah, it's definitely one of the strongest Pokemon in the tier. probably broken even. Like all of these Quiver ones that we got are really strong, especially Venomoth, just because like it's so easy to start with this mon. It has a good enough speed to outspeed a good amount of Pokemon. It also, you know, like Sleep Powder is inaccurate, yes, like it's only 75% accurate, but when it does land, it is basically just free setup opportunity. So that's why Venomoth has always been so strong, especially when you're trying to revenge kill it. Like if you get 2 boosts, like the game is pretty much done at that point, to be honest. But yeah, Vespiquen, yeah, Vespiquen is a Pokemon. It's probably going to be PU again, like we had in early Gen 8. Like, there's no reason to use Vespiquen in NU. Like, you know, you're forced to run Boots. There's better defensive Pokemon. Now, it does have spikes, but even then, it's too slow. It's taunt bait. Like, even something like Coolfish. Coolfish has taunt. It's faster. You know, better defensive typing, Intimidate. Like, there's just no real reason to really use Vespiquen. Like, its qualities aren't bad per se, like in NU. Like, obviously, like, the Terra potential's there, but just wasting your Terra on Vespiquen of all Pokemon, like, come on now. But yeah, it's not really that good, to be honest. Definitely a PU goon, for sure. Vivillon's also a crazy Quiver Dance one, because it basically does the same thing as Venomoth, just has one less base speed, and has a worse defensive typing. But it doesn't matter, because you have Compound Eyes, which, you know, guarantees the inaccuracy of Sleep Powder just goes away, and then you just start setting up. Like, it's crazy. Like, Vivillon's also pretty darn strong. Now, is Vivillon broken? Probably not. Like, it's always managed to stay in a realm of, you know, that is never really been too broken, but at the same time, Terra might push over the edge. Really just depends on how it's feeling on the certain day of the week. Like, as you can see, the move pool is pretty barren, but obviously you have Hurricane. To be honest, you could probably just drop Bug Buzz and fit like Terra Blast here with like a certain Terra type. Like, you could go Fighting for Steel. You can go Terra Steel itself just to have a better defensive typing. Water even to handle fire types. Again, there isn't too many fire types, but just having, you know, that fire resist on Vivillon's also nice. But I feel like Steel is actually pretty decent, because you also have other QD mons, especially the Oricorio forms, which can obviously come in on your Quiver Dance, get up a Quiver Dance of their own, and threaten you super effective flying coverage. So yeah, something like Terra Steel would work for Vivillon, just because, you know, Steel gives it, like, Steel cucks all of Vivillon's weaknesses that I originally had. You know, it had the fire, well, not fire, ground. Well, I'm not even thinking properly, so late. But yeah, Steel just gets rid of, you know, the flying weakness, which is the most important thing, I feel. So yeah, Vivillon, one of the best ones in NU. What's next? Wishcash. Now, for the first time, I can say Wishcash isn't complete trash in NU. And I say this because it actually has, they gave all the water ground types hazards this gen, so I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, Wishcash is no exception to this. So yeah, it's a decent lead actually. Like, people have been running Suicide Lead Wishcash. Now, it doesn't have a speed, it doesn't have the speed of a Suicide Lead, unfortunately, but at the same time, it does have Oblivious, which makes it immune to Taunt, so you're always guaranteed to get out rocks, which is a pretty good thing in my opinion. Now, does it have anything to get out of the field ASAP? It doesn't have Explosion, nor does it have Self-Destruct. But at the same time, you just get up your hazards and you can do that. I don't think there's any merit in Dragon Dance Wishcash. Again, it's too slow, isn't strong enough, to be honest. So you're just better off going like a bulky, you know, Wishcash with like leftovers. Like, Oblivious is actually a good ability on a defensive Pokemon like this, because you can't stop the hazards getting up. You just can't stop it. And especially on like hazard stacking sort of teams, like you'd run like a Ghost type, maybe Sensu, or like, not probably like just Sensu, to be honest, like, or like something like Haunter. That would be pretty nice. And yeah, Wishcash is a pretty decent Pokemon in NU. But yeah, what else do we have? Wigglytuff. Yeah, I don't think anyone's expecting anything from this. Like, I know we're low on the fairy department, but we're not gonna dissolve. Yeah, we're not gonna devolve into, you know, using Wigglytuff, which is a shame, really, because like, there's actually a good amount of stuff going for Wigglytuff, but I just don't think it's gonna find usage in NU, to be honest. Like, it doesn't have any good defensive qualities. There's a fairy type that can't even, you know, check fighting types consistently. Though you could just Terra this, but again, it's always coming on to the cost that you're Terraing your defensive one when there's broken offensive ones that actually benefit from terrestrialization, like stuff like that. Like, it's a fairy type that can't consistently check fighting types. It is a stealth rocker, which is actually pretty nice, and it does have a decent support move pool, but it's just not going to see the usage to really be NU, to be honest. Is that because it's complete trash? No, like, it's not complete trash. Like, I don't think it's good, but it's not complete trash, but it won't see the usage in NU at all, and it will drop to PU, which I will appreciate using it, because at this point we're going to have a really small pool of rockers, and Wigglytuff, again, has a high HP stat, not the highest defenses, but if you invest in, like, one of the defenses, at least it'll be decent enough, you know, at least in the PU standard. But yeah, cool. Wugtrio. Now, I was really disappointed in Wugtrio because it basically got Dugtrio stats, but neither has the abilities or move pool as Dugtrio. At least Dugtrio had coverage, had Earthquake combination, it had, you know, Swords Dance. Wugtrio doesn't even get Swords Dance. Why did you give Dugtrio Swords Dance but not Wugtrio? That makes like no sense to me whatsoever. At least something like Toedscruel. Toedscruel got Rapid Spin, it got Knockoff, same as Tentacruel, but Wugtrio, given the SD, is going to make it too broken apparently, guys. But yeah, we have Triple Dive, which is actually a stronger liquidation, which you're probably going to be running Triple Dive, but a lot of people have been saying Wugtrio is actually kind of decent in NU, which I'm surprised about considering the fact that there's a good amount of water competition in this tier, and I'm just like, why would you want to use Wugtrio over like Clawitzer or, you know, Bruxish or Basculin? And then I just remember that the speed tier is actually pretty high, and the Terra potential, like Choice Band, Terra Water, Triple Dive, like this one can actually do kind of a good amount of damage. Now, none of its abilities are that useful, not gonna lie. I mean, Sandveil is banned, of course, and Rattled. I mean, Rattled is too situational, and you know, if you don't resist any of these types. Like, at least with something like Ramble, which was never running Rattled anyway, you resisted a Bug and you resisted Dark. But Wugtrio with these defenses can't even take hits well at all. So your best bet is probably to go Gooey, pray that something physical kills you, and then, like, you lower their speed and you can revenge kill it more efficiently afterwards. But yeah, yeah, in terms of the coverage of Wugtrio, it doesn't exist. Like, at least you got Stomping Tantrum. I'll give it that. It has Stomping Tantrum. So water ground coverage isn't too bad. It also has Sucker Punch, which you probably might not want to fit onto the banded set, but maybe like a Life Orb set or whatever, you can probably fit Sucker Punch. But you can go Throat Chop and then you just have Aqua Jet. Like when I thought Basculin's coverage was bad, this is a new level of bad, not gonna lie. But yeah, definitely a niche Pokemon, I feel, but yeah, people have found their use with it. The speed tier is pretty high, and Terra Water, Triple Dive. If you really think Terra Water, Basculin, and Bruxish aren't hitting enough, I guess you have Wugtrio. So yeah, I don't know why people are actually considering using that, to be honest. But yeah, Zangoose. Now Zangoose is pretty cracked, I'm not gonna lie. Terra Normal, Toxic Boost Zangoose is insane, especially with a Swords Dance up. This one is cleaning reliably. Now, unfortunately, you're probably gonna have to drop a move here. You probably like drop Quick Attack, or you drop CC, and I don't think you want to drop CC. So you probably drop Quick Attack for like Terra Blast, and again, like, you either go like Terra Blast like Ghost, or to obviously be immune to other Zangoose quick attacks, or you go like Terra Fairy to break Kricketune, which is the premier Ghost type that, you know, just walls you completely, because it's a Ghost type that's neutral to Ghost and neutral to Dark. So, you know, it's never really getting, like, it will take a good amount from Terra Blast, Ghost, and Dark respectively. But yeah, there's just that option as well. You don't need Night Slash. Like, a lot of knockoff, which is a shame. I would just run knockoff here, but yeah, you can just go Terra Blast on this, or you can just go 4 attacks and not care. Like, it's really simple. Now, it's a shame that with Terra Blast, you're probably wanting to go another type, which is perfectly fine. Like, Zangoose Facade still hits freaking hard after a Toxic Boost, so there's that to consider. Like, you can go Terra Fighting, you can go Terra Ghost. Obviously, Terra Ghost is pretty nice because Obviously, you have Terra Blast Ghost to hit Ghost type super effectively. Plus, you're not weak to fighting anymore, and you're immune to normal. So yeah, Terra Ghost Zangoose is pretty strong. Also, kind of checks Medicham to a certain extent. Like, as long as Medicham isn't speed boosted or scarfed, like, you should have a decent shot, to be honest. And especially if it's like locked into a fighting move with a choice scarf set, you just Terra Ghost and kill that back, you know. So yeah, Zangoose is definitely one of the strongest Pokemon in NU. Some people are saying it's broken. To be honest, I wouldn't really disagree with them. Like, Zangoose just hits too hard. Like, it's not like Guja, where Guja kind of has the bulk and the versatility to make it unprecedented offensive threat. It's just more like Zangoose clicks one button most of the time and gets a free kill each time. So, you know, there's stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's it. The last Pokemon we're going to talk about is Zoroark. Now, Zoroark, people have been saying Zoroark is pretty good, and I'm not going to lie, it's good. It does have the offensive stats to work. Illusion doesn't come into play too much, but it just has the move pool to really make the most of what it's doing. It has Nasty Plot on the special side. Good coverage in Flamethrower, Dark Pulse Stab, and then like you can go like Terra Blast, Sludge Bomb to hit Fairy types. The few of them that are actually in the tier. Can obviously play around with terrestrialization on this as well. Terra Fairy to get rid of his fighting weakness, stuff like that. It also has like physical sets or like mixed sets. Like Zoroark is very versatile. What it can do, you can run a Choice Scarf set, Choice Specs, Choice Band. Like Choice Band is kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie, but it does have 105 attack plus knock off. Like, actually does hit kind of hard. Plus it has U-turn. Like, Zoroark is just very versatile in what it can do, and it's definitely one of the best Pokemon in NU. But yeah, we've discussed every single Pokemon, or most of the viable ones that are actually gonna see usage in NU, or at least discuss like every single fully evolved Pokemon, plus some NFEs that will see some usage. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video, again, leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more Pokemon content. I'm thinking of uploading NU laddering videos soon. I'll probably get on to recording that tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for watching again, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.